Hey everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. If you would just put where you're from over in the chat box and say hello to our moderators, that would be awesome. Again, I want to welcome everyone. Just put where you're from in the chat box over there. Say hello to Cowboy, which is one of our moderators. Okay, we're going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to PrepperNet Live on Sunday night. We have a special guest with us this evening. She'll be coming with us in just a minute. She is a master gardener. I've got to come up with some kind of cool thing I can do, but I can get master. The coolest thing I have is general, because I have my general ham license. But that's pretty good. I'm telling you, general is good, but master seems like it could be better. I don't know. So anyway, welcome this evening. We're going to bring you some good content on how to start a garden. It could be late for, well, it's not really late. You can still get started, but we'll go. She'll go through all that. I know nothing about that. I've got a green toe, if anything. So we're going to get started in a second. A few announcements. You know me. I got to hit the announcements. I got to let you know that, hey, PrepperNet.com is an organization of like-minded individuals who believe in personal responsibility, individual freedoms, and preparing for disasters of all origins, including pandemics. This group is aimed at individuals that have an interest in gaining knowledge, acquiring new skill, and networking with like-minded individuals that are preppers and survivalists. So if you're not in PrepperNet.com, you can't meet other people. It's not a dating service. Well, actually, it could be. Maybe that's an app we should do. PrepperNetOnly.com. Yeah. Anyway, so, but you've got to be in a group. If you're not going to be in a group, you just can't survive alone. You've got to have a support mechanism with people with different skills, and that's what PrepperNet does. We have 68 meetups throughout the United States. We have city leaders. Tonight's city leader is actually our Houston city leader, and she's going to be teaching us, Prepper Dana. But we have them throughout the United States. And if there's not one near you, let me know and we can start one. Now, I do have a few people in the email queue that I've got to contact this week to start one. I've got probably 8 people that have sent me messages. But I'll tell you this. I'll help you determine if you need one near you or not. If you live in Podunk and the nearest city is 2 hours away, it's just, you're not going to get enough people to start a group. I mean, it's literally 2 people going to show up, and so you need to be somewhere near a city where you can have the meeting in the city and grab a lot of people in. You get to meet them, they become your friends, you date them, you marry. Well, no. Then you possibly can become in a survival group. So, but check out PrepperNet.com. I went out and got the biggest names I think that support groups and prepping in the world. Here they are: Jonathan Hollerman, you see him, Scott Hunt, Dr. Bones, Nurse Amy, Charlie. All these people are my friends. Let's see, this week alone, I talked to Bones and Amy. Sam Copler and I were talking about some cryptocurrency that don't even ask. Cryptocurrency. I talked to Rick Austin about Prepper Camp, Ryan Mitchell. I mean, these guys are my friends, and they help me when I need help, which is quite often. So, so if you're in the chat room, I just need you to say, hey, I can hear you great, Forrest. I can see the video great. If you can't see the video great, you need to just refresh. This is coming straight from YouTube. But if you can hear me fine and I look good, just tell me in the chat. That would be very helpful. So, hey, we do this. This is usually for our premium members. We do free monthly webinars. We do all kinds of things for our premium members. Right now, I've opened the floodgates. Everything we do, we're doing it for premium members because there is a pandemic, and it's just time to show heart, and that's what we're doing. The people showing the heart is really my premium members by allowing me to open this up to everyone. But if you like what you're getting and you want to support us, it's a $40 a year. And you know what? $40 a year is the same price as espresso at Starbucks. So, I mean, just sacrifice one day and join PrepperNet and help us out. Okay. It's like, it's like a video game. You put your, anyway. Okay, so that's enough of that. Hey, I do have a funny video. This was on PrepperNet, but I thought it was hilarious. So this is the funny video for tonight. This guy went to the grocery store and could not find food, but here, you can watch. It's only like 30 seconds or so.
So I just went to Kroger, and I went inside, and there was hardly anything left, and I was pretty disappointed. So I just decided to leave, and then I'd come back another day. And when I got outside, there was tons of people with carts full of groceries. So I asked, I said, could you spare any extra groceries? And to my surprise, everybody mostly was willing to share with me. I was impressed. Like I got some bread, I got some eggs, I got some hand sanitizer, some wipes, toilet paper, some meats. It was great. I was impressed with humanity.
Okay, that's hilarious. Dude, how nice were the people in the parking lot? That was pretty awesome how generous they were, just giving this guy, toilet paper and hand sanitizer and some wipes. Wow. I don't know. That's just, I still believe in America. And that just proves it right there. So, hey, so we do this every Sunday night. Sometimes it's mediocre. Sometimes it's awesome, like tonight's going to be. And sometimes it's darn right okay. So tonight's going to be awesome. But a few Sunday nights ago, I did one on internet privacy and security, working from home. Don't let the government, don't let your work, don't let your other employees spy on you. You need your privacy and your security when you work from home. And I go through a lot of things that you can do and to help with that. You know what? I'll tell you this. The internet is never going to give you your privacy and security back. It is your responsibility to go and take it. And you do that with knowledge and tools. And that's what I go through there. I try to tell you a few things, show you some tools. That's how you can do it. Is you can take back your privacy and security. Some of you guys are going, oh, there's no such thing as privacy and security. Well, it depends on who you're hiding from. If you're hiding from the NSA, that might be true. It's not, but for the most part, it is. But there's the companies, it's your employers, it's your stalkers, it's your fans. So anyway, it's on our YouTube channel. Go and check that out. And then we did one last weekend, which was amazing, on survival groups, on the pandemic's going on, how to get people together, what you need to look for, what you need to do. You need to have skills. And we go through all that. And it was, on a 1 to 10, it was a 9. It was a solid 9. And the guy that taught that, he was one of the experts. So anyway, I taught it. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding with you there a little bit, but it's good. You need to watch it. One thing in PrepperNet, one thing I say all the time, and it's joking, but it's true. When the crap hits the fan, if you're not in a group, you're going to die. It's going to be very bad for you. You can't pull a bullet out. You can't protect you can't do everything. You need other people to help. Could be your family, could be your church group, could be people that hate you. So, also, this Thursday night is class 6. It's the last teaching class in our series. All the classes on PrepperNet YouTube channel. I promise you, after this class, probably in a week, I'm going to take them all down. Because again, if you remember, this is a class that this is kind of an abbreviated class, to be honest with you, from the full class. This is a whole webinar I do, and I charge people. But the webinar is more information, more intense, and longer. But anyway, so I'll be taking this down. So go through this. There's notes that you can go through, and everybody was, well, how do I get to the notes? I said, watch the video. Well, no, I just want the notes. I say, watch the video. But anyway, I want people to watch it. I just want you to steal my notes. But anyway, so it's this week, April 30th at 8 o'clock on this same channel. I'll show you where the notes are if it's your first time. So class 6, and then class 7 is questions and answers. I will have probably a panel of people, and I'm going to just let you guys know what I've taught, and I'm going to just let people you throw the question up, and I'll let I'll just assign it to someone. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, it'll be more fun. So anyway, that is coming up. That's class 6 of 7. So you better go back and watch them or you're going to die. So next is, okay, tonight, live webinar with Prepper Dana. She is our Houston city leader. And I have a phone call every week now with my city leaders. We just want, I mean, gosh, we know each other. We rag each other. We talk. What's going on in the world. And I asked everyone, I said, hey, I need someone to teach a class. And Prepper Dana's like, I'm a master gardener. And I'm like, what's that? And then she told me, and I'm like, that's a great class. It's a great time to teach that because people, well, except if you're in the state of Michigan, you can't plant your garden yet because you can't go to the store because of the government is not allowing you to go buy. You can't buy non-essential goods. So that hopefully y'all will take care of that this next election. But anyway, she's a master gardener. And so you guys are going to love this because I'm going to talk very little tonight. That's all I got to say. And so I'm going to bring her. Let's see, where is she? There she is. Hello, Prepper Dana.
Hello, I'm here.
There you are.
I think you qualify as a master prepper.
Oh, well, thanks. Ooh, I like the coin nets, yeah, that's awesome. So what I'm going to be doing, I do still have a role here. I'm going to disappear off the screen. She's going to take over, and when she says go to the next slide, I'm going to go to the next slide. I guess I could have put this on her computer, but that takes a lot of planning, and you know me, yeah. So anyway, hey, we do have some incredible people in our chat room right now. I see Elizabeth in there, Dr. Randall's in there. There are people in there that know a lot of stuff about prepping, that know a lot of stuff about gardening, and you can ask questions. But at the end, the master gardener is going to take questions at the end. So you can save some, you can ask them here. We don't care. We just want to make sure your questions are answered. I'm going to probably, if I take a nap, someone needs to call me and say next slide or something, because I'm just going to sit back and watch tonight. I kind of like this. So with that said, I'm going to disappear and I'm going to leave it to you, Dana. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, if you can hear me, give me a shout in the chat box.
Now, Dana, it does take some time for them to respond. It's about a minute late there.
A minute late? Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome to the show. This is my YouTube debut, so I hope it's okay. Counting on you to give me some feedback. A little bit about me. I hail from Southeast Texas, Gulf Coast. I have been a master gardener since about 2011, starting in Denton County and working my way south. I have a permaculture design certificate, woohoo, and I recently completed a master's degree with a food forest case study. There's a link somewhere in this presentation if you want to get a copy of that. And let's go to the next page. Enough about me. I'm here to bring you some good news. The good news is, hey, it's springtime, so we can get growing. The kids are home next week and every week. Well, they have something to do. They can help you in the garden. And they have young, strong backs, right? Sunshine is a great source of vitamin D. And guess what? The government has just announced that sunshine also kills germs. So, yay for that. All right. Some of the basics we're going to talk about tonight are just what plants need. And just to put it really simple, they need sunshine. No brainer, right? But you need to find a spot in your yard that gets at least 6 hours of sunshine per day. More is better. Sometimes some protection from the afternoon sun is good, depending on the plant. It needs water and some soil fertility. let's see, what we're also going to talk about is how to test your soil if the grid is up and everything's great, and also some things that you can do if the grid is down. For pests and diseases, what I do is pretty much nothing in the garden. If pests aren't eating too much, I pretty much leave them alone. Every gardener does their own thing in the garden, and I'm no different, but I'm a less is more kind of person. What you can do is plant a lot of things instead of one giant monoculture. That helps confuse pests. You can intervene if you see a bad bug. You can maybe squish it if you have the stomach for that. You can rotate your crops if you've got an annual garden that you put in the same bed every year. Basic crop rotation here is leaf, fruits, roots, and legumes. Legumes are peas, beans, and clover, for example. Oh, that's better. Thank you. But we pretty much want to manage the soil. My favorite soil scientist says it all begins and ends in the soil. You have healthy soil, you have healthy plants. Let's go on. There you are. Okay. Soil is made up of 3 basic components: sand, silt, and clay. You pretty much know what kind of soil you have. If your soil looks mostly like clay, or mostly like sand, or mostly like silt, then just add organic matter, and lots of it. You pretty much can't have too much organic matter. Depending on who you talk to, the people that give you caution about too much organic matter are really talking about fresh manure. Fresh manure is not good to add to the garden. Manure coming straight out of the animal pretty much has to be composted for 6 months to a year before it's safe to use on your garden. Otherwise, it will burn your plants. Okay. Good soil looks like this: rich, brown, foresty looking soil. It smells good. Not like this: dusty, dry, parched, and it blows away in your hands. Okay? If I can leave you with one thing tonight, it is this: please do not amend your soil. Don't put anything on it without doing a soil test. Soil tests are cheap. They cost about $10. You can send your soil to the Texas A&M lab, and they'll give you a summary results. But please support the lab in your state. In the example here, you don't see if there's too much phosphorus in your soil until you get an official report back that says, yes, you do. And too much phosphorus can block your plant's ability to absorb nitrogen. So we don't want too much phosphorus in the soil. And if you're buying a sack of fertilizer, you're usually buying like a blended amount of NPK. There's numbers on each sack of fertilizer. Those are how much percentage-wise fertilizer you have in each sack. That middle number is phosphorus. So if you have too much phosphorus in your soil, your middle number on that fertilizer sack should be 0. Or you can add something like blood meal. Okay, let's go to the next page. Some of my favorite stuff to have on hand is Microlife. Microlife is comes from Texas, and I try to buy local, and so should you. But in the previous example where we were too high in phosphorus, I would add the pink bag of Microlife, where it has high nitrogen content, 20, no phosphorus, and a little boost of potassium. Some of the other stuff I like to use in the garden is Super Thrive on the bottom left. That stuff is great for preventing or reducing transplant shock. So use just pretty much one tiny capful of that stuff to a gallon of water, and it'll be perfect. I also use a lot of diatomaceous earth because it is not hazardous to humans. And some others that might be helpful is row cover. The white summer weight landscape fabric can keep some of those bad bugs off your fruiting plants over the summer. And it can also be used to shade plants that are getting too much sun. Let's see. Neem oil is a recent addition to my tool shed, if you will, just because it can cover so much ground. So I was impressed, so I picked some up. Okay, let's go on to the next page. If you're going to do it yourself, soil testing, you can pick up a rapid test on Amazon for relatively inexpensive. I do not use this because I have access to the lab. But if you have nothing, this is better than nothing. It will give you a pH reading and NPK reading on your soil. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay. As far as what to plant now, if you live in USDA Zone 9A, which is Harris County, that includes Greater Houston, the Extension Office produces these nice calendars. And every county pretty much in the United States has an Extension Office. Their whole mission is to give you this information free. So take advantage of it. If you do not have a vegetable planting chart, contact your Extension Office to give a copy of it. If they say, well, hey, we don't have one, they know where to find one. Or you can talk to an adjacent county and they might be able to give you something. But this is a real nice chart. If you have space in your garden, you can look at the current month and see what it's time to plant right now, whether it's beans or corn, etc. Okay, let's go to the next page. What else the Extension Office has is the best vegetable varieties for your county. This is another one of those things that they are charged with telling you for free is what vegetable varieties and fruit varieties are good for your county. I see a lot of people just going to buy, oh no, back up. Just going to buy whatever packet of seed they can find on the shelf, or looking through a very cool seed catalog and buying something that sounds cool, but you really want to start with proven varieties for your county. There your greatest odds of success are, and that's where you want to start. You can always add different varieties later or more exotic plants. Okay, now you can go on. For companion planting, everyone has pretty much heard the story about the Three Sisters garden. If not, you can look it up. That's where they combined corn, beans, and squash. They've been doing that for a very long time, before the 1950s even. But if you're planting something and you're wondering if you can plant it with something else, you can check a reference. You can download this PDF, which is available from Orange County, Texas, and that's a handy chart. Or you can get a nice book reference. The best reference that I'm aware of is Carrots Love Tomatoes. And this particular lady is no longer with us, and plant research continues. So be sure you check for the latest update on your favorite plants. And you can do that research on your own by checking out Google Scholar. Okay, let's go to the next page. For food production, I happen to know someone who did a study on how much land is required to produce enough food for a household of 5 in the South. That number came up to be 2,880 square feet per person, or about 1/3 of an acre for 5 people. In that same study, I figured out that it is fruits and root vegetables, that give you the greatest amount of calories per 100 square feet. The top edibles on my list are ash gourd, malanga, ice cream bean tree, which is a farmer tree. Farmer tree is a plant that is a support species for nearby plants, so it feeds the soil. If you live in the South, though, you really need to get friendly with sweet potato and sunchoke. Sweet potato provides you with edible green leaves all summer long and edible roots all winter long, and it's extremely nutritious. Anti-cancer, anti-diabetes, anti-everything pretty much. Okay. To round out your nutrition plan, you really do need to add chicken and duck eggs, or some other varieties of meat if you're a meat eater. Okay, let's go on. Okay. My favorite ways of starting seeds depends on my climate that I'm in and what I have in hand. Last summer, I was in a more northern climate, and so I used this handy Jiffy greenhouse. It comes with a clear plastic lid, and it creates this beautiful little miniature greenhouse that you can hatch seedlings in, and that worked great. I've used that before. I've used a sunny window before, lots. That magic greenhouse isn't something you absolutely have to have. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see I made a little miniature greenhouse out of plastic water bottle. Okay. On the top left, you can even make a little greenhouse out of a Ziploc bag and tape it on a sunny window. We've done that for school classes. And direct seeding is in the top center. If you are in a northern climate and you want to get a head start, ahead of everyone else, you might want to get a seedling heat mat and put that under your greenhouse tray. The most important thing there is that the soil is warm enough for the seeds to start, and indirect sun is best. Okay, let's go on. All right, here is some interesting tips I've learned from experience and from a microgreens friend of mine. You can get a huge sack of black oil sunflower seeds on Amazon for $1 a pound. 25 pounds for less than 25 bucks. That is the exact same sunflower seed that they're selling you in organic sprouting kits for like $19 a pound. This is a really nice seed sprout to try. Instead of tasting like green leaves, like a lot of people say green leaves taste like, these have a sunflower taste to them. They're kind of nutty, and so they're very, very cool. And at the same time I got that giant sack of seeds, there was this sprouting tray system also on Amazon for less than 30 bucks, so I had to grab it. What's nice about the sprouting systems is you have food that's extremely nutritious, high in protein, because it's packed with nutrition for that plant to come out of the seed. And that will give you food, depending on how much sunshine you have, in about 3 to 5 days. No special fertilizer required or soil amendments, just water. So that's good to know. If you're starting a garden from scratch, and I've done that a lot of times, you do not need to till your lawn. You can if you want. I think it's extra work. I'd rather smother it. And we'll have some examples coming up here of that. If you're smart, you know you can get free seed material from the grocery store even, inside all those squashes you like, but they have to be a mature squash. So butternut, spaghetti squash, and pumpkin. All those seeds from the store are not only edible, but they are also plantable, as well as tomatoes and peppers, all kinds of stuff. I've also sourced ginger and turmeric from the grocery store and grown those perfectly. And you can also grow food from scraps pretty handily. All you need is a stub of celery, a stub of romaine, or a stub of leek, and you can grow a whole other plant. All you have to do is put them in like a glass of water with about ½ inch of water in them until they sprout roots, and then you can plant them in your garden. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, the most important tool you can have in your arsenal is going to be a cute pair of garden boots. Your chickens are a plus. If you're in the garden, you're probably going to get muddy. Not only that, the ants are going to find your feet faster than you know that they're there. So having nice tall boots with your pant legs tucked into your boots gives you some reaction time if you are standing on a fire ant mound. Some other tools to have are a nice long pair of loppers and bypass pruners, center top and top right, a couple pairs of gloves, rake and a shovel. All right, go on. Hi there, people. Okay, the lasagna garden method best describes my philosophy, where you layer in source materials from what you have into a new garden bed. The one-page summary of this book is just this slide. It really is just layering what you have, depending on what materials you have available. You may not have peat moss in your area. Peat moss is not native. Peat moss is not native to the South, so I don't put peat moss in my garden. And I would seriously hesitate to put wood ash on the top layer of any garden. Okay, let's go to the next slide. What I recommend in your layering scheme is to sandwich a layer of green in between two browns, like a great sandwich. And just because most people don't understand the difference between greens and browns, I list them for you here. Greens are like green grass cuttings, kitchen scraps. Browns are like crusty brown leaves, dead wood. If you're putting any kind of plant material into your plant beds, you want to make sure it's dead or it may resprout. Okay, let's go on. I'm going to have some great examples of different projects I've worked on that apply this lasagna layering method to it. In this photo, you can see the farm manager at Howdy Farm at the Texas A&M campus in College Station. This is super interesting because one of the researchers there was repurposing 10-gallon feed buckets with holes drilled in the bottom to let the excess water drain out. And they had layered in greens and browns and put a nice layer of topsoil on the top. And they were using wine bottles to keep the soil moist. So you can even reuse your old wine bottles. And there is a terracotta spike that you can pop in the top of those wine bottles and tip them upside down so that the soil will just sip water So that's a cool example. Let's go to another one. We've done a lasagna garden in a community garden plot with a group of kids. You can see in the example where we started on the top left, that was some serious hard pan soil. It's just super compacted. But we cleared it up and evened it out as best we could. Put down a layer of cardboard that blocks weeds and also feeds the soil as it decomposes. We put down a nice layer of leaves and manure, and on top of that we put a layer of topsoil. Next slide, we have the next step in that lasagna garden. For the kids, we broke that down into a square foot garden, and they each got their own square. You may, if you look really closely, you may be able to see the neck of a red clay olipot in that front square. And that is a clay pot of water that goes in the soil. It keeps the soil moist. If you don't like to water the garden every single day, those can be handy. Okay, so after they planted that up, short time later, we have success. On the right-hand side, we have what that garden looked like just before the class ended. Notice that plant on the bottom right. That is a single sweet potato root. Okay, next slide. Good deal. As a point of reference, that same garden looked like the top left photo after Hurricane Harvey hit Galveston Island. The only plants growing in that square foot garden at that time was corn, blue corn, and sweet potato. That one sweet potato plant took over. The hurricane wind laid down the corn and killed it. But as you can see, the sweet potato is pretty much unfazed by more than 50 inches of water that weekend. Wait, go back. There's more. Okay, so I also wanted to point out that sweet potato is an awesome ground cover. It shades out everything, including weeds, and it is especially effective at suppressing nut sedge. On the right, 2 months later, I like to harvest sweet potato just before Thanksgiving to make sweet potato pie. And that's what it looked like at that time. Okay, now we can go forward. So sweet potato is super tough and it's a super great plant for the South. All right, in another example, you can build your garden box at your own house in a single afternoon. All you need is 3 cedar boards. Yeah, 8 foot long. You cut one of them in half, and then that gives you an 8x4 raised bed. Screw those together, put in some lasagna layers, and plant it up. Even got some free child labor for that project too. Okay, next. A year later, this is what those 2 garden boxes looked like. A year after that, I had a huge elderberry growing. That elderberry was 3 foot tall when we put it in the bed. And huge, over 10 foot tall 2 years later. And we had a real nice harvest. But we did have to cover the elderberry fruit because all the insects in town wanted to suck all the juice out of my elderberries. Okay, so next, Mr. Forest. In another project, this example is from northern Arizona, which is dry, but they don't plant until like Mother's Day. So I got them started with the Jiffy greenhouse several weeks before their planting date, and they decided they wanted to do a keyhole garden. Their challenges there at that site were a lot of wildlife and a lot of wind. The gophers were eating everything in sight. And if you're putting money into a garden, you are pretty disappointed if the wildlife is getting more to eat than you are. So we built a keyhole garden. What you can't see in that photo is at the very bottom, we put down hardware cloth to exclude gophers from our garden. And then we put down the materials that she had to build the wall with, which was cylinder blocks, concrete blocks. And those worked fine, but they were a little bit different colors. They were okay with that. We put a megaton of wood into that garden and topped it off with some good quality topsoil. For the wind, we pretty much put it where there was tree cover on one side and building cover on another, but wind came from all directions, so they were still getting wind. Okay, next. You can do lasagna layers also on a huge garden, market garden size plot as well. A nice example of that is Paul's Back to Eden garden. If you've never seen that film, it's well worth watching. He says he hasn't watered or fertilized or mended any of the soil in his orchard for like 30 years. And that's pretty incredible right there. So to do a lasagna layer style garden that he didn't till it. He put down paper. He put down good soil mixed with composted manure, so finished manure. And then he plants it up. And then he mulches with wood chips. I don't mulch with wood chips because it's too hot and humid here. I use hay mulch because it's a dry mulch for me. Okay, so there's a link in this presentation for the Back to Eden film. Some other options depending on what you have. I like sunny windows. If you have a great window, whether it's in your bathroom or your kitchen or your laundry room, you can add shelves to it if you've got great sunshine there. You got a little greenhouse right there. On the top right is an example of a right-of-way garden, which is that little awful strip of grass that's usually on the curb that you have to mow all the time. Well, you can actually put a garden right there. Even if it's a butterfly garden, it's useful for something. And you don't have to mow it if you plant a garden there. In the middle example is a balcony garden. I had rabbits up there, and I also had four earth boxes, which are self-watering containers on wheels, and that worked out really well. And the bottom right is a very cool example of repurposed, like 2-liter clear plastic juice jugs, cut open, holes drilled in the bottom and filled with soil, and they grew some awesome greens, and that was on a rooftop. Rooftops are used a lot in other countries because it is more secure. I mean, you're less likely to have someone walk by and steal your produce if it's on the roof of your house. Okay, let's go to the next. Some other examples are grow boxes attached to your balcony rail via zip ties. So, and trees, you can grow short trees you can grow a lot of stuff in containers. There's a whole community that's all about container gardening. Let's move on. All right. So in my references, I have links to the Back to Eden film, a link to ecological pest control ideas if you don't want to spray toxic chemicals on your garden. There's a free download while it's available. It was just posted within the last couple of days. by Mid-County Victory Gardens. My case study is here under that ProQuest link. It also has a nice list of plants and the nutrition detail for those plants in Table 19. A nice book reference to have for how many plants you can plant per 100 square foot of bed and what your estimated yield will be based on low, medium, and high yield. And that would be based on your skill set, the quality of the soil, how much sunshine and rain you get, etc. Lots of variables. My favorite reference for that was How to Grow More Vegetables by John Jevons. But that does not cover every single plant in the world. I had to look up several plants in Google Scholar. There's a link to the video on that rooftop garden, which is amazing. And they also show how to prepare some of those greens. All right, and my email if you need it. Keep going. All right. It may be a little distressing that you can't find the exact seeds that you want online. And who can you trust? I've bought seeds from all of these places, and they've never let me down. Some of them are not taking orders right now, but there are plenty that are. And so that's the seed sources that I've used if you want to have a reference of seed sources to trust. Keep going. Okay, so this is my main garden bed at the beginning of the season, like 8 weeks ago. I've been hustling since then, and now it looks like what you see on the right. We have 2 extra garden beds, so 3 total, and plus what you see there. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Forrest, what do you want to do next? You want to do the garden tour? Okay.
Well, I can do the video, or you can take some questions. What do you want to do?
Let's take a poll.
Okay. Hey, we can start asking. This is a video tour of her garden, and she kind of tells you what she has planted, or we can just start taking questions. You guys tell us in the chat room. Hello, is the chat room?
There's a little bit of a delay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the main delay is working. Let's finish the video. So the video. There we go. Tour. So I'm going to do the tour then.
Okay.
Okay. So let's. Let me see. I'm going to.
Hello, people. It is a great day for a garden tour. So let's do it. First up is my food forest plants here on the left. We've got new fence in this year. This gives us extra garden space. Last year, the fence line was right at the edge of this garden box on the left side and the north wall. So we have quite a bit more garden space this year. The first bed, let's take a look. On the left, we have Kentucky Wonder green bean and red, white, and blue potatoes. Right next to that is comfrey, which is flowering. It is a living mulch plant. Across from that comfrey is my zucchini and sweet basil, which doesn't look too awesome. It really hates my wet soil. We get a lot of rain here. So I'm thinking about moving that to a pot. On the right corner here, we have herb garden, rosemary, and one of my favorites, Greek oregano. And the pots up front are giant chives. The tall onions here are walking onion, so that's cool. All right. Right next to zucchini is our pepper plant, several varieties stacked and packed. And on the edge, all along the whole wall here, is asparagus. We love asparagus. This tall variety is New Jersey Giant. And the rest are new this year. They are, I think, Mary Washington variety of asparagus. I have one Roma tomato plant. I really suck at growing tomatoes, but I'm giving Roma a try because it's good for canning paste sauce. Right next to the tomato is carrots popping up. It is very late in the season for carrots. They're a cool season plant, but I heard carrots love tomatoes, so I'm gonna give it a try. Right here is a weed called purslane. It is very nutritious, so I let it grow as ground cover. All right. Right next to the tomato and asparagus here is Italian flatleaf parsley. It is not by the other herbs because parsley and asparagus like to grow next to each other. And there in between comfrey and parsley is some green pea. I don't know how that's going to do, but my granddaughter really wanted to plant that particular plant packet of seeds. So what can I do? What else we got? A new garden bed right here. New this season. We've got watermelon on the left, sweet corn in the middle, and sunflower. Lots of sunflower on the right. On the other side of the yard, there's a brand new bed, which gets the last bit of sun in the day, this edge of the garden. And sweet potato is going to go in that, and it will fill up that box by the end of the season. Right next to that is 3 black Manuka grapevines. They are 3 years old at this house and 2 years old at another house. They were just starting to fruit at the other house. They haven't fruited yet here. I'm dealing with soil quality and pest pressure right now. Okay, right next to the grapevine patch is raspberries. On the left, the big one, is Dorman raspberry. It is flowering right now, so hopefully we get fruit this year. In the middle is a golden raspberry, and on the right is Baba Red, which is already fruiting. All right, across from the swimming pool and hot tub, we have some blueberries in pots, which are fruiting. Another edible in the yard is this canna in the big pot in between the windows. And I have Ozark strawberries in the hanging basket, and they are doing nothing. On the far end of the yard, we have chickens. A chicken yard. It's a brand new fence this year. We lost 2 chickens this year already. One had some funky disease we did not identify, and the other one, a dog ate. So we had to fix this fence. Hey, girl. All right, what do we have over here? There's an elderberry that I just planted a couple weeks ago. Actually, more than a couple weeks. I had hoped that that was going to fruit this summer, but it looks too small. We'll see. And we have a brand new chicken coop with 10 new laying hens. That is it. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys. That's it, such as it is.
Video tour. Okay. So with that said, if you guys have questions, just pop them up in the chat window there. And if you put question mark, kind of let us know there's a question. Then we'll know, hey, there's a question. We should probably answer that. So any questions you have for Prepper Dana, let us have it. And yeah, here they're coming in. It's just a little bit slow on the update tonight for some reason.
The easiest garden for brand new people, I would say a raised bed. You can put a raised bed in a single afternoon, and you can even do a square foot garden, 4 feet by 4 foot. A lot of people do that. You can put a lot of plants in a little tiny bed.
Someone asked about sweet potato leaves.
What about sweet potato leaves?
How can you eat sweet potato leaves?
Like any other green, you can eat them fresh, or you can chop them up and put them in a soup. I had a hard time finding greens that would grow in the summer here because it's too dang hot. And my favorite greens are the sweet potato and Okinawa spinach. So I use those instead of spinach. Spinach is a cold season crop for us.
What about fertilizer additives? Don't you?
Fertilizer additives. I gave the Microlife example that has soil feeding, microbe feeding goodness in it. Otherwise, I recommend composted manure, the natural stuff. The
Or
way
have
your
rabbits.
Rabbits are great because their number 2 can go directly on the garden. There's no wait time.
Yep.
Just not their urine. But worms love rabbit urine. So you can put worms right underneath the cage.
Huh. Oh, this video is going to stay on YouTube for a while, so you'll be able to see it on YouTube. Some hanging containers in my apartment. How about this one? How about straw bale gardening?
I tried that one year. I wanted to see what I wanted to see what that was all about. And it turned out to be a huge mess, and it really didn't produce much for me. But it did feed the soil real good the next season. So I think my favorite way of trying the straw bale might be with like an old window on top, so you can create a little mini greenhouse with it if you want to grow stuff during cold weather. If you live in the north, you use whatever advantage you have to grow stuff. What else?
Go ahead. Raised beds are not deep enough. Don't you just put dirt in there, or foot of dirt?
All your annual crops need is 6 to 8 inches of soil. I've seen those raised beds put directly on concrete or even asphalt.
How about for potatoes and sweet potatoes, though? Don't they need more dirt, or do they go out instead of down?
They can go up. So hill them. Potatoes are supposed to be hilled. On one of the slides where the blue milk crate is, right next to that blue milk crate is a potato growing bag. And you start with a 2-3 inch layer of soil on the bottom. You put your baby seed potatoes at the bottom. Let that sprout good leaves until it gets, I don't know, maybe 10 inches tall. Add soil, keep adding soil, and then more potatoes will grow all the way along that stem, all the way up. There's some really neat container gardening tricks for growing potatoes even on a balcony.
You mean that slide right there?
Yeah, that on the bottom right is a potato grow bag, and you can get those from Gardener Supply online, or you can make them. That's just like And the reason why burlap sack is so cool is because it's porous material and the excess water can drain away. And so too much water is usually how we kill our plants. What's the next question?
It's on the screen. Can you read them? I'm sorry.
They're just scrolling so fast.
Oh, look on the video.
Oh, okay. Does manure tea have to be old, or can you use fresh manure? I wouldn't use fresh manure, but you can use compost tea. And that way you can make your compost go a lot farther. There's recipes online for it. And they get pretty complicated depending on what your soil requirements are. A lot of people love it. Composted chicken manure, horse manure. You can use manure from any animal that is an herbivore. You're not supposed to use swine or non-herbivore manure because of parasites.
Okay. Can address how to conduct soil testing if laboratory testing centers are permanently closed.
Permanently closed for your whole state?
Maybe right now because of the pandemic, they could be.
You can always send a soil sample to the Texas A&M lab. They are open. They are on reduced hours, but you'll get your response back via email. And it was pretty fast, within 2 weeks.
How do you get rid of squash bugs and prevent them from turning? I use 7 Dust. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I knew
You don't eat your squash, do you?
I knew that would draw up some. But yeah, how do you get rid of squash bugs?
I am dealing with the dreaded squash vine borer right now. I like squash, and so they really piss me off. What you can do that's completely organic is you can wipe the eggs off the stem of the squash with a damp, like, washcloth. But there's still some that are going to escape you. They like to lay eggs way down at the base of the plant where you can't see it. So some of the methods of control are removing those eggs, and also insecticidal soap, which is approved for organics. That's Safer Soap on Amazon.com. You can buy it pre-mixed. But the most effective method I've heard of is BT injection. And that is also organic approved. And you want to get the safest variety of BT you can get. I think I saw it on Johnny's Seeds for not too expensive. And it's not hazardous to humans or the beneficial insects. So look for that one. I think it's Dipel.
What did you use to prevent gophers in the Arizona garden?
Hardware cloth. The suckers
I thought
can't
you were going
chew
to
through
say
metal.
it too. So go ahead. Hardware cloth. So you put it so they can't go up there or something? I mean, how does that work?
That keyhole garden had the hardware cloth all the way across that bed, and we were still worried about cracks in between those concrete blocks, so we blocked those with rocks as well. As far as I know, not a single gopher got up in there. She had no dog. I also recommended a dog because some dogs will chase those down and chase them away. So you might want to get a dog.
Any suggestions for a cucumber and zucchini in containers?
Go deep and go vertical. You can get 5-gallon buckets cheap at Home Depot or Lowe's. Just drill holes in the bottom so you have proper drainage, and add or make a trellis for them. You can make a 6-foot tall trellis if you like. But they do need a lot of soil and a lot of fertility. Okay.
Okay. Do you, question is it too late to plant sweet potatoes in the South?
Oh. No, I haven't put mine in the ground yet. But do it. Do it as soon as you can. If you're looking for a source, let me know. I originally got mine from, I think, Steel and Company, Steele They are like awesome. They'll send you slips in the mail and you will never need to buy sweet potato ever again. Just save the little bitty sweet potatoes you get at the end of the year. Take them out of the ground. I let them cure in the kitchen in like a metal basket until I'm ready to plant them again. Okay.
Do you save seeds or use heirloom seeds?
The best kind of seed you can use is seed you have saved. If you're buying seed, most of the seed is safe to use, preferably open pollinated, heirloom, organic. Those are all good words. Be aware of hybrids. Hybrids, their offspring seeds will not produce true to what you have because they have two different parents to produce the desired crop. And so the next subsequent season, you won't get the same thing if you save hybrid seeds.
Okay, what do you do about a cat pooping in your container, in your yard, in your garden?
Plant catnip for them somewhere else.
Okay.
They love the stuff, and they will lay under that plant all day when they're not hunting.
Okay. Let's see here. Someone says, "Hi, Dana."
Hi, Dana. Who is that?
I don't know. Gophers. Someone said a 22 ammo. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. And Bill Murray. Any more questions? There's Bill Murray. Caddyshack. Yeah, Gophers. That's what you need. Is a little dynamite in Caddyshack. Here's something about. I have no idea. Aluminum foil and catnip in another location away from the garden. Okay. Any more questions for Master Gardener Dana? Prepper Dana. Let's see if how far we're behind over here. No, we're okay. Any let's see here.
Oh, that's Vino. Hey, Vino. Thanks for joining.
Who?
Vino. He's one of the crew from PrepperNet Houston.
Okay. It says, I have a big, deep planter box, waist high. I need to line with chicken wire for moles. Hardware cloth too. Okay. Dynamite would be an effective way to till your garden. Yes. Dana, I planted tomatoes and never had a problem. That's Elizabeth. Elizabeth can grow anything. She's been prepping since like 1910. And she is, so she, I mean, every skill you have on the prepper sheet, she's got like a 9. Let's see. Here's a question: can you show slides with seed sources again? Well, maybe. Let me go there and right here. Boom. There they are.
Yes, I recently bought from all of those Brim Seed Company. Those are Southern acclimated for the most part. Seeds. Johnny's Seeds would not accept my order this week, so I will be placing one next week. They've got a tomato that grows like a weed, and so I figure if it grows like a weed, I can't do it wrong.
Okay, another question is, can you, I guess this person is local to Houston, can you plant broccoli?
Broccoli is a winter crop for us.
Okay.
It's late for broccoli.
Let's see here. Let me take the seed thing off. Hey, this presentation will stay online. let's see what this is. Okay. Can you read that?
I like to use Swiss chard as an all-season salad green. Yeah, unfortunately, Swiss chard does not stick around here in the summertime for Texas. What other all-season crops would you recommend? I would recommend perennials that you don't have to plant every year. I have Okinawa spinach. If you can find it, it's a great edible. It is pretty much carefree. It doesn't care if it's growing in a container. If you put it in the ground, it will take over. And as soon as it's warm enough, it starts, producing leaves. And it produces leaves all year until it freezes. And then it's done. But it comes back in the spring as soon as it's warm enough. During the winter, we grow winter greens. Beets, radishes, Swiss chard, lettuce, all of those good greens.
So people are coming up with different ways. Cat hair near your garden. Someone said swink gum balls to keep cats out. Bear Creek seeds, only heirlooms. Okay.
They got hit hard and they're not even open.
Trying to grow tomatoes from seeds for the first time. Planted them in seed trays on Tuesday. How long typical to sprout?
I don't know. Look it up. Actually, I don't start tomatoes from seeds. Or maybe one of the other gardeners can answer that for you. Okay. Tomatoes are not my crop.
Well, I know Elizabeth, she probably starts everything from seed. Yeah, she'd drive you nuts a little bit. She's so into this stuff. Okay, what's this? How far north can folks expect to be able to plant cold frame plants?
How far north? If you plant on Mother's Day, if Mother's Day is your trick every year, I would grow in a cold frame. I would grow in a cold frame all winter long. Because you need to grow something. And if you live in the north, you really ought to consider building a greenhouse, any kind of greenhouse, on the south side of your house. It will help warm your house in winter, and you can grow stuff all year round. You can even have chickens in the bottom of your greenhouse. That will warm that wall up quite a bit too.
Okay, any more questions? I think there's more questions. Okay. So I grow rabbits, but I don't have a garden because I have zero sunlight in my yard. So I have a drone. And so this week I'm going to take the drone up and actually put the drone above my house, and it's awful. It's all you'll be able to see the roof of my house. That's about it. But so I'm going to grow rabbits and barter with people when they have fresh vegetables. So,
okay. It's good to have a plan.
Yes, and I got buckets, so if you want to buy some rabbit poop, I'm your man.
You should sell it.
We can barter that too. Okay, why aren't the questions coming in here? Is there any vegetables too late to plant in zone 7B, 8A? I don't even. That's Linda. She's in South Carolina.
It's also in, like, North Texas.
It's
pretty darn close. I mean, I wouldn't plant winter crops.
Okay, but anything else you can plant, you think?
All your summer stuff. If you go back to the vegetable planting chart, it's beans, squash, pepper season, okra, all that stuff that loves the heat of the summer.
Yeah, someone here said I could have a roof garden. 15 years ago when I found out you could actually pay people to go higher than 10 foot, I don't do that anymore. So, tomatoes start. Oh, someone said tomatoes will sprout in a week if you use bottom heat. So I don't. So any more questions? So you did leave. I'm going to throw this slide back up. Hang on. That actually has your email address in there at the bottom. And I'm sure that if people asked you questions, you would answer. Y'all see the email there? PrepperDana@protonmail.com.
Email Dana, it says.
Oh, email Dana. Oh,
It's really easy to remember.
Dana. Hey, what are you going to do? I'm going to email Dana at protonmail.com.
There we go.
So she is for everyone, she is our Houston city leader. And so she's not going anywhere fast. And let's see, any more questions? Great webinar, thanks. Hey, we just planted our tomatoes, pepper, squash, zucchini today. My potatoes, lettuce, spinach, and whatever that is, onions, garden peas. Gosh, that's Elizabeth. She probably has knowing Elizabeth, she has 40 acres, and she hand planted all these herself.
I'm sure.
Yeah. You know Elizabeth. You've talked to her before, or at least on one of the. So if you will hang on for another minute for questions. If you want to email her, please email her. And if you want to go to her Houston meeting, go there. I'm late getting some in the ground. It was great, Dana. You are great. I love the information. That's from Elizabeth. When she
thank you, Elizabeth. That's really sweet. You're a pro. We need to be Facebook friends.
And then there's someone that says, "Do you speak Russian?" And I speak 2 Russians. I don't speak Russians. Best tip for getting seeds to germinate / sprout? Water. I don't know. What's the
that Jiffy greenhouse is a nice trick. If it's really cold in your house, get the seed heating mat or use the old heating pad like somebody suggested. The key there is the temperature of the soil needs to be just right for that little seed to pop out. And indirect sunlight, if you give them too much of the hot afternoon sun, that may kill them off. If you give in that Jiffy greenhouse last year, it got a little bit too hot. It was in a south-facing window, so I had to crack the cover of that plastic just so some heat would escape. But almost all of the seeds came up within 5 days, and then we planted them about 4 to 5 weeks after that.
Hey, what vegetable plants are good to grow in a window with strong sunlight?
Aloe vera. Anything that'll fit on a windowsill. Loves that sun. I've grown basil in the window. All your herbs. Herbs are a great place to start if you are a new gardener, and they're extremely nutritious. And you can just pop them in whatever you're cooking.
Awesome. No one asked about weed, so that's good. I'm surprised. I live in Deer Park, Texas. Wish I knew about them. Good. Happy gardening. Okay. Well, Dana, I think that's all the questions we have. Okay. Everyone, email Dana at protonmail.com. You can email your questions. She is highly qualified. She is a master. See, my mom did call me a master when I was in high school, but it was master of disaster. So, but I've kind of lost that name. One last question coming in. Can fresh seeds be planted, or does it have to be dry? They have to be dry, don't they?
I've never really put that to the test, but I do have a philosophy of replanting lettuce right after it goes to seed. I have replanted lettuce immediately after it went to seed.
Sweet. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. Prepper Dana, we have a call Wednesday night with the group. But thank you for doing this. I hope you get some emails. This will be online. If you guys want to watch it again, get the references, get the links. It's going to be on our YouTube channel for weeks to come. And if you want to share it with a friend or a foe, that's fine. We don't care if your worst enemy watches this. So I do want to remind you, this coming, I'll keep us in there. This coming Thursday night is a class number 6 of the 7 series of Intro to Preparedness. And then next Sunday night, we're going to do something different. I will send emails out. I have one of my best friends in the world's going to be on, and he is an attorney, and I know, don't hold that against me. And we're going to talk about, that we could be we're going through a pandemic. Economic crisis may be coming, but there's always hope, and there's always things to do and look forward to, and to not a time to be depressed. So we're going to talk about that next week. I think he's coming on. And so Dana, thank you so much for coming. And we, guys, we're out of here. Thanks for joining us. And you guys take care. And we'll watch you guys just chat away for a second in the chat room. Then we'll fall off the map. Oh, you know what I can do right now? I'm going to just stand by. Everyone seems to comment on this. And we're going to take you out with what I call the PrepperNet music. So we will see you guys later. There we go. There's some music. Later, Tater. So thank you, Dana.